Electricast.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by La Quinta by Wyndham. Your work can take you all over the place, like Texas. You've never been, but it's going to be great because you're staying at La Quinta by Wyndham. Their free Bright Side breakfast will give you energy for the day ahead. And after, you can unwind using their free high-speed Wi-Fi. Tonight, La Quinta. Tomorrow, you shine. Book your stay today at lq.com.
Welcome to Her Extraordinary Life by Design, where we celebrate women who are shaping their lives one extraordinary day at a time. I'm your host, Leslie Gaudet, self-care coach for women who are ready to make self-care a priority to support them in life and business. Every week, I'll be speaking with inspiring women from various walks of life who will share their personal journeys and will discover how they have fearlessly carved their own paths as business owners, passionately pursuing their dreams and creating a meaningful impact on their communities. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to Her Extraordinary Life by Design podcast. I'm your host, Leslie Gaudet, and today we're talking with Sarah Malone, founder of K3Uk Coaching. K3Uk Coaching, founded by Sarah, offers transformative journeys towards self-discovery and empowerment. With a background in engineering, personal training, EFT, psychology, and NLP, to name but a few, Sarah blends compassion, empathy, and practical wisdom to guide individuals on their path to fulfillment. At K3Uk Coaching, the focus is on fostering connections to oneself, to others, and to the world. Through personalized coaching sessions, workshops, and retreats, Sarah provides unwavering support in uncovering clarity, embracing self-love, and creating a life of purpose and joy. Whether clients are navigating stagnant patterns or seeking deeper fulfillment, Sarah empowers others to tap into their inner wisdom and trust their intuition. Together, they explore the depths of the soul, cultivate joy, and celebrate authenticity. I really do love what you do, Sarah, and I am so thrilled that you have made some time to be on the show today. So welcome.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Well, before we dive into your current work, I always start my podcast by learning a little bit more about my guests' early experiences. So with that being said, could you share with us some highlights from your childhood and your journey to where you are today without going too deeply into what you do, because then we'll segue into that.
So in the shortest way possible, my life, it's been pretty average. But the reason that I do the things that I do is because I've lived a life of practice what you preach. And I've had things happen to me in life where, I've not really given it acknowledgement or time to really kind of consider what that looked like or what that actually created within me. I just kind of kept going. And I recognized in my adult life that something had to change. And thankfully, I was able to do that with some systems and some people and some experiences. And it allowed me to tap in and create what I actually do now. But if it hadn't been for my past, I don't think I would have been here. So, yeah.
Yeah. Could you maybe go just a little bit more into the person like Sarah, how you grew up? And because I know we do have a path that we follow. Even if we're not aware of it, there is that path that we follow. And sometimes it'll bring us full circle back around to something that we had first explored when we were younger and didn't really think much about it until much later in life. So can you just give us a little bit more insight?
Absolutely. So from a young age, I always knew I was different. I think that's the key. And I think that's the key for all humans. We need to embrace being different, not being the same. And as a child, I was always this sort of kid that was easily distracted in inverted commas, didn't really when they applied themselves, they were really good, but otherwise they were kind of off doing their own thing. So I always knew from a young age that I never really fitted in. I had things that came to me, I had an imaginary friend and people were like, you're a bit weird. And I'm like, really? Like, didn't everyone have imaginary friends? I learned that no, not everyone has imaginary friends. It was because I was different, because I had something else that I was tapping into. And as I grew up, I did things slightly different, or I considered things a little bit out of the box, is what the criteria is known as today. I didn't see the things that people did in mainstream. I didn't conform, I guess. And as much as when I was growing up, I kind of just did my own thing, something happened. You get to a certain age and you're like, I don't want to fit out anymore. I want to fit in. So what is it that I need to do in order to get that? Because, it's a lonely journey sometimes. So everything that I had done and everything that I was as my being, I kind of put on pause. There was things that happened within my life that kind of gave me this sort of, oh my God, like I can't be like this in front of people because people are scared by this, or people are like, what on earth are you trying to say? So I dampened everything down. I packed it in a neat, nice little box, put it in that attic space in my head. It was like, we'll deal with that later, and kind of started conforming and went into the corporate world and became a mechanical engineer because I had father and daddy issues like some people have out there, where I wanted him to see me and validate me, and he didn't. And so I kind of fell down that corporate rabbit hole, and then came kind of full circle when I was like, this just doesn't give me joy. I'm not fulfilled. Like, I didn't stay in a job long because I climbed the career ladder really quickly in each corporate job I was in. And I was like, okay, what do I do now? And they're like, well, we don't know. And I'm like, okay, bye. I'd go and do the same thing and repeat the same pattern and the same habits. So when I had the opportunity to kind of stop and slow down and connect back to myself, I found that box that was in the attic and was like, oh, what's that? And I came and I took it down and I started unpacking everything. And I was like, oh my God, this is who I really was. And this is who I'm supposed to be. But I was supposed to go on the journey in order for me to recognize and come back to who I was as an adult, to be able to kind of stand in my power and be like, look, this time I don't mind being different. I'm quite happy being an outcast if it means I can fit into my own remit and create my own fulfillment and my own joy, which is exactly what I did with the business. So
Yeah, I love that. I love your story. What I love is that we always, like I said, we have a backstory. A lot of the time we don't recognize that it really hasn't or has had the potential to influence us, or maybe it did influence us, but we didn't visit it or really take it seriously until much later in life. Like you said, you finally found something that brought you right back to that place of really embracing who you authentically are and how you feel confident to wear that skin, if you will, like that person. A lot of the time people shy away from that, or they're persuaded not to lean into that because, like you were saying, it's weird, it's different, it doesn't fit within the norms. It doesn't, people, you're not conforming to what society is saying that a young woman should be like. And I think it's really important that you brought that up, because we can embrace our authenticity. We can be who we are and be able to share our gifts. But again, that past, being able to reflect on the past, seeing that that's where there were some clues, and being okay to it, embracing some of those things that we might have thought were too weird or too outside of the box or too strange or wouldn't be acceptable to some people, and just saying, you know what, this is who I am and I'm going to use this. And then being able to take your gifts and put them into this model that you have, and helping other people, which is where I want to transition into, because you founded K3 UK Coaching. So I'm curious, what inspired you to found your company and led you to this path of helping others on their journey towards self-discovery and empowerment?
So this is where things get really interesting, because although I was in the corporate world, I was still, I guess, side hustling. That's what people call it nowadays. I wasn't. I was just trying to do something that I enjoyed. And I did personal training and nutrition. And the reason that I did this was because I couldn't find anyone that would help support me. And that's like a whole other story of things that just catapulted the actual beginning of what K3 UK Coaching was. But I recognized one of the foundational things when I was personal training was I was helping people, but I was helping people to discover who they were, not what they wanted. And by helping them discover who they were, they felt more confident, not only in their skin, but in who they were and what they did and how they showed up. When it came to the company was created for a legacy. It was for my kids. I have 3 children. a lot of the things that I do is in threes. And, the saying of the power of three is one of the most powerful things that you can use. And for me, it was not even a consideration. As soon as I was like, okay, I'm going to go down this route. I'm going to create this company. I'm going to do something. The first thing I was like is, what am I going to call it? And I'm like, well, what is the purpose of this? I want this to be the foundations of my family, for my babies to be able to grow up and dip in or dip out or see that they can absolutely be anything they want. They can show up however they want. They can do whatever they want, and they don't have to be dictated to by the outside world that they have to be this version, or they have to look this way or talk this way or act this way or go down this route. I wanted to be that, I guess, ambassador that meant that they had choice. And that's absolutely what it is about life. We should be empowered to make our own choices. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that part about the legacy, leaving something for your children to see how mom is and being able to embrace who you are and being okay with that, giving the confidence to show, hey, this is mommy. This is who I am. I want you to be confident to embrace, those parts of you that you might think are weird or unconventional or people will maybe judge you for, but being okay with that. I think that's really incredible. And I like that when you were saying like discovering who they were, again, we talk about going back to the past to find those clues, but it's those things in that discovery process can really help us to realize, oh, these are the things that happened to me, that this is how I'm coming from at this particular stage in my life. Some of them maybe don't serve us anymore. So we're going to work through those to maybe flip the script a little bit and maybe use more empowering things, thoughts, actions, goal setting. But I love the fact that you were saying doing that, through discovering who they were. But the other part too, which I really like, was the power of three. One of the things that I love the power of three. One of mine is love, kindness, compassion, always seeing through the lens of love, always coming from that place, being kind, not only just to others and the planet and to people and to animals and things like that, but to myself. I think that's really important when it comes back to self. And then the compassion part, again, is still, even though it's for others as well, but it's also for yourself. I think a lot of the time we can do that for other people. We can, provide love, kindness, compassion to others. But when it comes to ourselves, we will tend to beat ourselves up more for mistakes or things that didn't go right. And instead, that's why I love that, like you were saying, bringing it to the power of three. For me, like it was the love, kindness, compassion. That's what took me down that road to self-love, which was really my first foray into self-development, was learning to love myself. And that was going through that healing process. So I just wanted to say thank you for bringing that up, because it really resonated.
But that's what it is, isn't it? It's about being able to find that leverage. Like you were talking about self-care, and compassion. And I always say to people, I'm like, be selfish. It's not about being selfish, and it's language, isn't it? It's communicating. We all have a different version of how we interpret things, but be selfish, be a little bit selfish. So you're selfish. You're taking a little bit back for yourself before you then go out and give to somebody else. Learning those things and those traits, they only come from the lesser experiences that you've had to be able to go, okay, wow, that didn't serve me. So how can I make it different the next time? I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, my belief around self-care really is that I believe it's just the lifeblood to success in life and business, because you've got to take care of yourself so you can show up for your kids, for your significant other, like in your personal side of your life, to show up in your business fully. Like if you don't take care of you, all of those other things are not going to get the best of you. You're not going to show up the best that you can, because you're just not coming from a place of empowerment. So I really love that. So let's transition into your background, because I think your background is really cool. You've got quite a diverse background in engineering, personal training, EFT, psychology, and NLP. So how do you integrate these disciplines, the things that you've learned through all of your experiences, into your coaching practice?
So go back. So before I did all these more holistic or new age things, I became a mechanical engineer. I was a petrolhead. I am one of those girls that you will find quite happily under a bonnet, tinkering with things covered in muck, like quite literally oil, dirt, grease, like that's my love, that's my passion. But it's because I like to find out something. I like to find out if I can absolutely take it to the point of breaking and then put it back together and it's good. And that was like the foundations of who I was. And that's what I do within my company. You know, when it came to doing all the servicing and the courses and the learning that I did, I'm a sponge. Like I love the knowledge. I love wisdom. I love learning things. But one of the really interesting things was I learned very quickly that a lot of things that I did, I already almost knew. And that was a whole other realm of trying to settle that system, being like, why do I own it? How do I, where, what? Whoa, that's interesting. But going into those courses and being able to do those things, they were just part of who I was. It became part of my essence. And then taking that into the business, it meant that I was more than able to really look after everyone on all the levels that they were coming to me from, you know, because lots of people come from different backgrounds. Lots of people come with different experiences. Lots of people come with different thoughts and feelings of how they are going to get support or help or advice or whatever that looks like and feels like for them. And I think for me, I'm really pragmatic about being able to lean into the masculine side of things, but still being able to lean into the feminine. So I'm this balance, I'm this sort of yin and yang sensation where if you show up really quite masculine, I can flip you and put you in your feminine state where you become softer and you're able to embrace that side and be like, wow, like that's cool. But if you're really sort of in the feminine and you need to start making decisions for yourself and empowering yourself, like I can flip that and go like, okay, I get that this is a beautiful space to be in, but this isn't going to get you to where you want to be. So let's flip it on its lid. Let me be really soft and gentle where you have to give the answers, and empowers them to be like, God, I can do this. And I'm like, yeah. The only way I was going to be able to do that was by training and doing all the different qualifications that I did. They were amazing, and they've supported me and they've given me some amazing tools. But ultimately, what they gave was people to understand that I can help them in many ways. You know, it wasn't just a one shoe fits all. It's not just a cookie cutter design where every person goes through the same thing and they're going to get the same results. It meant that I could offer something completely different, because everyone is different, you know, and that really helped me with the diversity of everything that I did, looking at the mind side of things, you know, taking consideration how the brain works, taking in the body side of things, where it's the personal training and nutrition and what you put in, you're going to get out, whether that's physically or nutritionally. And then looking at the soul side of things, being able to really embody where they've come from and how they're going to connect back to themselves to truly find their path and their journey. It just meant that it became this really wholesome system that allowed people to really go through all areas, but really beautifully designed for them.
Yeah. And like you were saying, everyone is different and they not necessarily are going to know what they need. And that's where having all of these different modalities to offer can help, you know, each individually. Even if you take them through similar processes, maybe you find someone needs something different. So you're going to help them, like maybe they need the EFT, maybe they need to learn how to using the touch points to change what they're saying, to change those thoughts patterns into something more empowering. But sometimes we don't know what they're going to need, and they don't, especially they don't know. So that's why it's really important that you have, like, I think it was really key that you were very intuitive to know that, okay, I have these skill sets right now that I know can help people, but how can I support those skill sets? Also being able to, in a way that's going to be powerful, but also to then have these additional skill sets to support the people that come to me with whatever challenges that they have. And I think that was really important, because I think a lot of people they think that, oh, it's just like has to be one way. There's only one way, but it's like, we're all individual. We're different. We might have similar experiences, but my perspective is going to be different from yours because we just think differently. We're different, and that's okay. And so I love that you actually pulled your different techniques into it, and you really pay attention to your clients' needs to make sure that you're going to show up and support them the way they need to be supported, right?
Absolutely. Because that's what it is, isn't it? We're here to serve that person rather than what the bigger objective is like, okay, well, I have this and that's all I know. I'm a firm believer that regardless of qualifications, regardless of where you've went and what you've done, you yourself, your experiences help define how you show up and what you can do, whether that negatively impacts or positively impacts, the life lessons or the achievements and the blessings. It's finding that balance, isn't it? Because without the balance, you're out of balance, and that in itself can cause chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to shift now to something that we've previously talked about, but something that you're very passionate about, which is PMDD. So can you explain what that is and then tell us how you support your clients that are dealing with this, what unique approaches that you bring to help them manage and overcome its challenges?
Yeah. So PMDD, for people out there that don't know what that actually is, it stands for premenstrual dysphoric dysfunction or disorder, depending on where you come from. But PMDD, it's the same thing. In a nutshell, PMDD is chaos wrapped up in a ball of thorns, tossed into some burning fat and left to kind of just percolate in the corner. And it only affects women directly. It affects family members and everyone indirectly, but it only affects women. And it's still such a new condition that women quite often don't really get diagnosed. And I went through 7 years of fighting, not only with the system of professionals. Now everyone has their place, and professionals do amazing jobs. But because the thing that I was going through hadn't been heard in the UK when I was going through it, I was misdiagnosed, and it took me 7 years. Eventually, me taking back and going, okay, what can I do to serve myself? What can I do to see what's going on? Because ultimately, the diagnoses that I'm getting from the professionals don't fit what I feel is actually happening versus what this terminology or this diagnosis or this label is that they're throwing at me. PMDD is chaos. It only affects women a certain period of time. It typically affects women just before their menstruation. And no, it's not PMS. It's not like, oh, I've got a tummy cramp and I need to go and lie down, or I need to take like a Xanax, or, some sort of bar of chocolate and a hot water bottle. It's far worse than that. You literally become this alter ego of who you are. You become a shadow of who you truly are. And it's mad. The symptoms, and I think this is what makes it so difficult, is the symptoms can be so varied. They can be so wildly different from one client or one person to another, that's what makes it challenging in itself to be actually fully diagnosed. But what causes the chaos for me personally was because I was put on contraception. I was put on contraception for at quite a young age because I had other things going on with me, and they never then regulated and, reviewed these things because ultimately I wasn't showing any other signs of things. So, if it's not broken, you don't need to fix it. Ultimately, it caused me chaos further down the line. And the bigger thing for me is being able to help people acknowledge and know that you don't have to have this diagnosis and be medicated the pharmaceutical way. Again, there's a side note. There is people that require that medication, and I'm not poo-pooing it or saying that it's got its place, and I think it's a fantastic thing. But for me, it didn't work. It caused me further chaos. So I had to take myself out of the whole situation and the whole system and go, okay, how can I help myself? And I went on, another massive journey of discovering what it was that served me and how the things that were causing the reactions and the triggers from month to month were spiked or they weren't, and what that meant for me. And I now try and help people, not only the women that potentially have gone through a misdiagnosis, but also the family. Because I've had clients that have come to me that are like, oh my God, like my life's in chaos and this is happening and this is happening. And, my wife's this or my partner's this and da-da-da and da-da. And I'm like, okay, I can support you because I fully understand that there's a potential that this is actually what's going on. It's a thing that happens that is still so taboo. When we look at women, we're not allowed to show up and be grateful that we can bleed. Like that's a big thing. It's still a really taboo thing to talk about, menstruation and things like that. And I think that comes from a stigma, again, of conforming, that we're supposed to just put up and do the things we're supposed to do and not be able to talk about it, not be able to have like a bad day because we've got, this condition. And I just want people to understand that, you know what, it doesn't have to define you. You may have this label, but that doesn't change who you are. It just gives you something more that you maybe need to work on, or something a little bit deeper that you need to dive on. And I absolutely, if there's anyone out there that's listening to this, that's like, oh my God, like, yes, like that's what I feel like. And I've got this diagnosis, and, you know, it doesn't sit with me. Like, literally come and speak to me, or speak to somebody that has an understanding of it, or do some research and find the things out that serve yourself, because it was a lonely road for me. It was really genuinely lonely, and I felt like I was going insane because I didn't know what was going on, and I couldn't control the emotions and the triggers that was happening from it. So, you know, one of my purposes is to help people really understand how detrimental this condition can actually be to a woman. You know, it's, yeah. I could go on. I'm not gonna.
No, but I do love the fact that you realized that you had to figure it out. And sometimes we do have to figure things out on our own. It's unfortunate, but that you didn't give up, that you actually went out and you found the reasons behind the way your body was reacting, and being able to take back, like you were saying, your mental health, because you were starting to feel like you were losing your mind over it. And I think too, like you were right, it's unfortunate. I don't understand why it's such a taboo topic to talk about a fact of life. It's an actual fact of life. It's not something that just happens to 1 in 3 women or 1 in 10 women as far as menstruation. It's like every woman has, menstruates. And unless she's gone through some form of like hysterectomy, or menopause, like every woman has gone through this type of thing. And so I just really feel like it was so important to talk about. And I'm glad that you had, prompted me to bring the subject up, because it's important that we allow ourselves, give women permission and men permission to talk about something that should not be considered taboo. But, there could be single fathers out there too with young daughters who this could really help them too, because they don't understand why their daughter is acting the way they are, or is going through what they're going through. And the daughter doesn't have any clue either. And having someone like yourself as a resource to be able to say, oh, this is what we're going through. And you're being able to say that I completely get it. I've been there. Here's what I've done. And here's how I help people and help them get relief. I think that's the big thing, because that's what we're looking for, is some form of relief. And even if it's not 100% what we were expecting, at least something, a response, an answer to at least get us pointed in the right direction. So yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So important.
Our life is always about a journey, isn't it? And it's about learning when to expand and lean in, or retract and take time out to kind of go, okay, hold on, what's going on? We're so designed to just constantly look for the next thing, the next quick fix, the next this, the next this, the next this, that we tend to forget to sit and go, wow, like I did something amazing. Like I'm still here and I managed to do this, whether that's a changing career, or whether that's having a monthly bleed, or whatever that may be in between. It's about being able to just take that minute and just acknowledge how amazing you all are.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's shift a little bit. So you offer the personal coaching sessions, you have workshops that you do, and retreats, which is where I want to focus on the retreat part, because I love retreats. I love how they provide growth. I love how they provide healing, community. So, you get that feeling of belonging, like you're not all on an island all by yourself. So could you share a little bit about what your clients can expect from your retreats and how they contribute to their personal growth and fulfillment?
I love this, because quite literally, like, we have a retreat tomorrow. So I was like, before we came on this call, I've got chocolate on my top, thankfully. You can see it. But I was busy making cacao, because part of the things that I do is helping people to fully embody themselves. I use that with plant medicine. But one of the biggest things when it comes to retreats, one of my key objectives was, when I started them, like, I was under the understanding of, these are the things that I need for myself, but are these also the things that people need as well? And one of the key things was I went to lots of retreats, and some of them were full weekends. Some of them were quite long times being away. Some of them were quite expandable within the actual day, and the thing that I got from that for me was it's women, like for me, and we are all inclusive, but for me, it was designing it around parents, mums specifically, knowing that they just need sometimes a day out, a time out, just literally, instead of being stuck in the bathroom with the door locked, just having 5 minutes peace just to get away from the noise, they actually should be investing in themselves to just really connect with themselves and connect with like-minded people. So one of the biggest things that we did when we designed retreats was we made sure that this wasn't going to be something that was going to take up lots of their time. It was only going to be a one-day thing, and it wasn't going to be so expansive that it meant that they were just overfilled with information. So we cut it down to a really specific time, which works really well with what we're doing. And in the retreats, we do a mind, body, soul experience. So we understand that there's people coming to these retreats that don't know each other, that have never met each other. There's going to be nerves. There's going to be anticipation. There's going to be maybe a little bit of anxiety. There's going to be that, oh my God, am I going to fit in? That judgment and that, the fear, basically. So we make sure that the first thing that we do is we allow everyone to just get rid of those mind monkeys. We open up with a cacao ceremony, which is all about coming back to the heart and connecting to who you truly are and what it is that you want. We're not one that we're going to dictate what it is that you're going to go through. We allow you to be as present or as, in the background as you want, because ultimately this is your day. So we do the mind side of things. We chat about things. I have little exercises and little parts that people can get involved in that really just allow them just to make things fun. And then we take care of the body, because in my eyes, if we take care of the mind and the body, because that's our main line, that's the things that function us and make us go from wherever it is to wherever it is, like a car. If we can get the fuel in and we can get the car ticking over, it'll take us anywhere. So if we deal with the mind, we then do some exercise, we get that body limbered up, ready to kind of go into the next stage. And whether that's through yoga or qigong or whatever it looks like and feels like for them, it's some sort of movement. And then we allow them to take into the deeper depths. We allow them to jump off that cliff knowing that it's okay, because at the bottom of that cliff, they're going to be safe. They're going to bounce off of this beautiful, soft landing. And we let them go into this space of connecting to themselves, whether that's inner child, whether that's past life, whether that's connecting to dreams and visuals and aspirations and goals and all these beautiful things. We allow them to come back to themselves and find out what it is that truly ignited them, what gives them that fire in their belly. And then we allow them to come back to that closed ceremony. So we make sure that they're all taken care of. So if there is anything that comes up that's scary or daunting, they've got space to have that conversation and feel connected to everyone else there that's willing to support them. So the retreats that I do, I absolutely love them. Like they're my little babies, because the containers, that's what I call them. We do them in a bell tent. We're total self-sufficient. We don't have houses. We don't, hire places out. We literally have a bell tent, and we pitch this bell tent up for the day. We have a horse box that holds all the stuff that we need. So we're completely self-sufficient. And we just go in, and this container is so sacred. And this space is so special for every single retreat that we do, because the people that come are the people that need to come for the right reasons, and when they're together, they're always like, oh my God, and I can't believe I met you. And it just, it's like Christmas and birthdays all rolled up into one, with a really nice Easter gift and a New Year's resolution.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love retreats. Like I said, I've had beautiful experiences, whether it's been a day retreat or if it's been a 2-day retreat. I always come away feeling really good, because there's that, as I was saying, that community aspect of it where we are supporting each other. Like we lean into, especially when it's women together, we're leaning in together. We have that. We just have, there's common things that we have that we can all get around to really feel like we're connecting. And that's what I love about these retreats, is that you, especially with what you're doing, is you're bringing them together to work through whatever their choice is in whichever area, but they can do it together and they can support each other in their individual journeys, but doing it collectively. So I really love that. So Thank you for that. So looking ahead, what are some of the goals that you have for K3 UK Coaching, and how do you envision the future of your practice in helping the people that you work with through cultivating joy, embracing self-love, and living authentically?
So we have lots of things going on in the background at the moment. We have a new program coming out that is going to be designed specifically more for business owners that are feeling stuck or feeling a little bit lost, feeling a little bit like, okay, I've done some of the work and I've got some of the results, but now I don't know where to go. So we've got this really beautiful coaching coming up. We also have lots of other elements that just basically take care of you. My idea is I want my company to be a community. I don't want it to be this single source. You know, we bring in experts. That's one of the things that I do within my retreats. We bring in experts. We bring in collaborative spaces for people to come in and be part of the audience that we have. Because in my eyes, it's collaboration over competition every single time. I would much rather have 40,000 experts come in and showcase how amazing and how powerful and how knowledgeable they are, and have my audience be like absolutely dazzled by the amount of beautiful people that there is out there, rather than they coming to me constantly and me reiterating the same information. You know, I want to be able to I want to build an army. That's what I want. I want an army of amazing, empowering, beautiful, worthy people, not only as clients, but as, you know, end users and other companies. And just to be able to really combine everything that we're doing and just join forces and serve people in the way that they actually require and desire, not what they have been dictated to that they need and should be seeking, you know. And ultimately, if I can do that, even if it's just for a small percentage of people, I reckon I've done a good job.
Yeah. But you know, that small percentage could then go out and impact people in their communities, who can then go out and impact people that they come across, whether that's through traveling, whatever they do. So it has that potential for that ripple effect. So yeah. I love that. Exciting. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for spending time with me today and sharing about your incredible journey and your coaching program to your coaching company and what you do, blending all of your diverse disciplines to help your clients. I really love that you meet them where they're at. Your contact information, as I always do, will be with my guests is going to be included in the show notes, so that if anyone wants to reach out to you, whether they're local to you and they want to come to one of your retreats, or they want to learn more about your coaching, or perhaps even to be helped around PMDD. Again, I'm really excited for this connection. And I just want to say thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, Leslie, it's an absolute pleasure. And high vibes. I love it.
And to our listeners, I hope Sarah's words have sparked determination within you to prioritize self-care, embrace your true self, be authentic. Don't be afraid that those things that you thought are quirky or weird, that there's anything wrong with you. I think it's really important that you embrace the uniqueness of you. Her journey illustrates that while the path to fulfillment may be challenging, tapping into your inner wisdom and trusting your intuition can lead to a more joyful and purposeful life. So let her story inspire you to explore new methods for achieving holistic health and happiness. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep designing your extraordinary life one day at a time. Thank you for joining me on Her Extraordinary Life by Design. I hope you've been inspired and empowered by the incredible stories shared on this show. If you enjoyed this episode and the conversations we've had, I would greatly appreciate if you could take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback and support mean the world to me, and it will help others discover the podcast and join our empowering community. Remember to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Together, we can continue to learn from these amazing women, uncover their extraordinary journeys, and be motivated to create our own lives by design. Thank you again for tuning in. Until next time, stay empowered and keep shaping your extraordinary life one day at a time.
Have you ever wondered what actually happens in Congress every day? Stay informed on Capitol Hill's daily happenings with a concise, factual summary of the Senate and House of Representatives' activities from the previous session, free from bias, on the Congressional Record Daily Digest podcast. Subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and discover the process from the heart of U.S. politics. The Congressional Record Daily Digest, an Electricast production.
Electricast.
For those of you who dream of a world where music and podcasts live together in perfect harmony, now for the first time, Electricast gives you a magical compilation, Pod Till You Drop, Volume 1, where we give you the best in tunes and the best in podcasts. Feast your ears and hear the culture. Available now wherever you listen to music. Electricast.
Electricast.